Welcome to another edition of Inside Titan Sports. I'm your host, Jeff Radcliffe, and we're going to talk all things Eastern Florida State College athletics here in the next half hour. And it's a special edition here as we're going to talk all the game of soccer on this edition of Inside Titan Sports, as we will check in with the men's and women's soccer programs which have reached their preseason goal of making their national tournaments, both able to do so this past week. We will talk with Oliver Tweltrees and Jeff Carr of both the men and the women later in the show. But first, got to remind you that the Titan Soccer Complex will be hosting the NJCAA National Women's Tournament next week. Perhaps you have heard, but next spring we'll be switching a little bit from Titans Blue to Orlando City Purple. As you may have heard as well, the Orlando City Soccer Club reached an agreement with Eastern Florida State College a few weeks back to bring their new USL team to the Space Coast. And with me now, the head coach of Orlando City B, Anthony Pulis. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jeff.
So we've got the USL. This is kind of a thing that Orlando City and their supporters know all about. It's basically where the club got its roots 4 years ago. Now in MLS. It's been a great first season for the MLS side. Yeah. What is Orlando City B, and tell me about the USL?
Okay, I'll start with the USL, Jeff. I mean, we've been in the USL for 4 years. Starting in 2011, we had a great deal of success. 2 championships, 2 regular season titles. And then obviously we got the expansion franchise to become an MLS team. For now, for me, with Orlando City B coming into USL, it's a really important piece for our football club in terms of development and developing future talent that's going to give these young players competitive first team minutes to obviously hopefully prepare them for one day playing the MLS for Orlando City.
There are 2 types of clubs now in USL, a little bit different from you guys' early days, 2011, 2012. You won the championships as an independent club, and those are those heritage clubs like the Charlottes, the Charlestons, the Richmonds of the world, the Rochesters. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit different now. Now you're one of the many MLS-owned and operated teams, and explain the difference and how will that be, a different switch for you, because you're a guy that played at that level too.
Yeah, I think it's been one of them. I think there's 8 teams this year that have done it. I think it's been Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, New York Red Bulls. I won't name all of them, and they've all added USL teams. And from speaking to all these coaches that have coached these teams, they've said it's been a massive success. Really successful for the fact that they can get the guys that are not playing week in, week out for the MLS team minutes. And I think that's really important. It's another important piece to growing their club as an individual franchise. For the independent clubs, the Charlottes, the Richmonds, the Charlestons, the Rochesters, they've got a lot of tradition, a lot of heritage of being in the league and being very successful. And that's their only team, so that's their first team, and they'll make it as difficult as possible when they play against the MLS affiliates, if you like.
Orlando City's training ground, and this is another unique aspect of this, is 90 minutes away from the Melbourne campus of Eastern Florida State College. Yeah. What are the benefits to playing here in Brevard County? You're in the footprint of Orlando City Soccer Club, but it's kind of reaching out to a new place a bit.
Yeah, it's fantastic that the club have reached the agreement with Eastern Florida State College, and it's important for us as a club to grow and expand out into different areas of Florida, and I think it's going to be a really successful one for us. The big thing for me was having a nice playing surface for our players to play on, and the field and the surface at East Florida State College is fantastic and second to none, so I'm really pleased with that.
Talk a bit about maybe how the roster makeup will work. You're going to have different types of players. This is not your typical minor league team in that some of the guys on this, they're developmental guys, but these are guys that have played MLS games and will continue to do so really for both teams during the season. Yeah,
we'll have probably a core group of guys that have been in the MLS squad this year. Younger guys that have had appearances, they've played some decent minutes. Tommy Reddins, Connor Donovans, Harrison Heath, players similar ilk of that, Tyler Turner, that we envisaged will be with us to play games with us as much as possible. So I think for a fan's point of view, then they're not just going to be seeing young guys that haven't really played a lot. They're going to be seeing some guys that have played substantial minutes in MLS, and there may be some guys from the MLS team that maybe come back from injury or that need some minutes, some game time to get their fitness levels back up. So they'll be with us at some stage as well. So it's really exciting for them to see the type of players that we'll have.
You've heard it here first. Kaká or Breckshay, if they get injured, they're playing here. Probably not. But talk about the environment that we could have here. You've already got a supporter group, the Harbor City Hooligans. Things may change a little bit from what the Eastern Florida State College soccer soccer fans see that we'll have some added amenities in the stadium, certainly some more seating as well, and it could set itself up to be one of the best environments in the league.
I think so. I mean, it's a really intimate. It's going to be a really good intimate environment. I think if we can get the stadium full, I know the club and the college have got plans to get some more seating put in, and I think it'll be great. I mean, I've obviously played in the league for Orlando before, so I know the places where we're going to go, and I don't see any reason why we can't make this one of the most, for us anyway, for opposition teams coming here, really intimidating place to play, and one that creates a good environment for our players to play in and play for the supporters of Brevard County, and hopefully if we get people over from Orlando as well, I'm sure we'll make it a really good environment. Fans
of the Titans men's and women's program are used to a very proactive style, a very entertaining style of soccer. Will what Orlando City B trots out, what OCB trots out, be very similar to what the first team at Orlando City?
Definitely. I think that's the whole point of it, is we want to mirror what we do off the MLS team, and that's the whole point of it, is to try and produce players from Orlando City B that can go on and play for the MLS team. And it would be silly of me to try and play in a completely different style to the way Adrian wants, because then if those guys do get bumped up to the MLS team, that they know what they're doing and what's expected of them.
Those that follow the world game, of soccer or football, if you want to call it that, may know the name Pulis. Your father, Tony, a longtime coach in the English Premier League, currently with West Brom. So obviously you draw a little bit from what Dad did and growing up, and you actually played for him a little bit. But then you have Adrian Heath as a mentor as well. How does that how does it change your mentality and make you a coach? I mean, what things are you going to draw upon that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky. Obviously, I've grown up around football from a young age. I've been following Dad around as a young boy when I was in school, and on our school holidays, I'd go with him and go and train with the first team, be around the offices and see how he designs his training sessions, how he structures his teams. And obviously, he's been very successful. So I'm lucky that I've got that resource to tap into whenever I want. We speak on the phone most days about different things, and he's always there for me to get advice from. So I'm very lucky. And then obviously I've got Adrian Heath here, who's obviously another fantastic coach, who's vastly experienced, been very successful, and one that I've learnt an awful lot from since I've been here playing under him in Orlando.
Sure, but at the same time, this is your first head coaching gig. This is something you want to make a career out of too. You got to develop your own style as well.
Yeah, I think it's important that I don't just turn into a robot and I try and copy off other people, and I have no intention of doing that. Like I said, I've been lucky to work under some very good managers and coaches, and my style, what I want to do is try and draw all the good things from the coaches that I've worked under and almost try and mould it into my own style, so that I can obviously be as good a coach as I possibly can be in what I hope is going to be a long and successful career.
Anthony, can you stick around for another segment?
Of course, no problem.
Outstanding. We'll be back with Coach Pulis right after this. Talk a little bit about the year Orlando City had on and off the field, plus OCB, not the only new team under that Orlando City banner. We'll talk about that with Coach Pulis when we come back on Inside Titan Sports.
Eastern Florida State College. This is where you discover new opportunities, where you pursue your dreams, and careers take flight. Apply now for new bachelor and associate degree programs in business, healthcare, computer technology, and other growing fields. Eastern Florida, where Titans rise. Apply today.
Welcome back to Inside Titan Sports. I'm your host, Jeff Radcliffe, and we continue to talk Orlando City Soccer Club with Orlando City B head coach Anthony Pulis. And boy, what a season it's been. The first season of MLS for Orlando City Soccer Club on and off the field. And there was an expressed goal to make the playoffs in an expansion year. You guys fell just a few points shy of that. But man, you can't take away anything from the success that Coach Heath and you guys have.
No, it's been a fantastic year on and off the field, as you say, Jeff. I mean, going from the first game of the season against New York City to a sold-out Citrus Bowl was an occasion that I'm sure myself and thousands of others will never forget. And then even with the results, obviously we were disappointed that we didn't make the playoffs, but the fact is we were one of the most successful expansion franchises in the history of MLS. So there's lots of positives to be taken from this year.
Had a conversation with Adrian Heath about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when the playoffs started in MLS, and he actually got calls from the coaches at New York and Columbus saying, "We're glad you didn't make the playoffs because we didn't want to see you." Because winning 5 of the last 6 games.
Exactly. The way the team finished was fantastic, and I think a lot of people say in soccer, especially when you get to that end of the season towards the playoffs, it's normally the team that has momentum going into that last stage is the teams that normally are successful. So I think if we had have snuck in there, I'm sure we would we would have been pretty good, and teams would have been very worried about facing us, that's for sure.
Let's just tick off some of the numbers here. Orlando City, in an expansion year, an expansion team, also finished ahead of New York City FC, we might add, the other expansion team, and beat them towards the end of the season. Best passing percentage in the league, so very good with the ball, obviously. 12 wins, 44 points, among the best in MLS expansion franchise history. Of course, you had Kaká, one of the highest profile players in the world. Breck Shea, U.S. men's national team, barely played because of injuries, international call-ups. Get him back next year. Kyle Larin, the odds-on favorite to win the Rookie of the Year, had 17 goals. It would be a crime. And Christian Higuita, some of these guys in the central midfield that really are getting a lot of recognition worldwide now.
Yeah, I think the important thing with a lot of the stuff you just mentioned there, Jeff, with the Larins, with the Higuitas, with the Breck Sheas, even Kaká to a certain extent, they've all now had that year in MLS. And I have no doubt whatsoever that going forward now into year 2, they will all benefit from that and all become coming back into pre-season bigger, stronger, better, more experienced, and will know the league and will obviously help them to perform better and the team, hopefully.
You played at the Citrus Bowl in front of impressive USL crowds, 8, 9, 10,000 people. Over 30,000, an attendance record for an expansion franchise, one and second in the league behind only Seattle.
Yeah, it's difficult to find words to describe how impressed I've been with our support this year. It's been absolutely fantastic. I'm sure a lot of people didn't expect the attendance numbers that we've had, and long may that continue.
OCB gets its start next year, but so does the Orlando Pride of the NWSL, another expansion franchise, now coming to Central Florida, the 10th team in the NWSL. It's going to be a crowded training area, isn't it going to?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. We've gone from now having one team to all of a sudden 3 teams next year. So everybody's going to be a little bit pushed for space. But I think it's fantastic for the city, for the community, and especially we've got a lot of girls in our youth programs at Orlando City, and I think it's going to be fantastic for them now. They've got role models to look up to aspire to. It gives them something to aim for in the future, and I'm sure it's going to be a really, really successful thing for the club.
Striking while the iron's hot. The U.S. women win a World Cup with Alex Morgan, the first big signing. It certainly will certainly attract another segment of the fan base too.
Yeah, I know. And we've got. I think the head coach we brought in, Tom Samani's obviously got a great track record, very successful, very experienced, great guy. He's been around the offices now for a few weeks, and he seems to be putting together a really, really good squad, and I'm sure they'll carry on the Orlando brand and be successful as well.
Local girls on the roster too from Brevard County, from here in the Space Coast. Everybody knows Ashlyn Harris, the U.S. Women's National Team goalkeeper. She got picked up in the expansion draft from nearby Satellite High School, and then of course Tony Presley, the former Florida State player as well. So you're going to get local kids coming home, and this is certainly going to attract. Speaking to what you just talked about.
Yeah, I think it's important that you get that mix. Obviously, we've got the world superstar in Alex Morgan, and then you get in the local girls as well, which is, like I say, it's going to be great for our younger girls in our youth programs in the ECNL and in all the youth clubs that are playing soccer at a young age. And no, I think it's only a positive thing for the club.
Anthony, certainly a pleasure. Thanks for joining
Jeff.
us.
Thanks
Best
for
of luck
having me.
next year. That is the head coach of OCB, Orlando City B, Anthony Pulis. The OCB lads will be opening the season next March at the Eastern Florida State College Titans Soccer Complex. When we come back, talk about the current residents of that field, the men's and women's soccer programs for the Titans as we talk postseason right after this.
This is where we're building the future. This is where we meet the challenge, where leaders emerge and careers take flight. This is where you discover new opportunities. Choose to stand where excellence lives, where Titans rise. Eastern Florida State College.
Welcome back to Inside Titan Sports. I'm Jeff Radcliffe, and now we turn our attention to the two teams who had the stated goal of making the national tournament. In this past weekend, they were able to do that. The women's soccer program, men's soccer program. Head coach Jeff Carr, head coach Oliver 12 Trees. Welcome back from long road trips, and congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, Jeff. You had to go to Mississippi, play Pearl River, and really a game that you guys bossed and took care of it, but there were some tough conditions to deal with.
Yeah, it poured the whole game. It was a very narrow field. It was only 60 yards wide. It was the first time a soccer game has actually been played on that field, even there as it was at a high school field, and the high school team does not play soccer on that field. So it's so narrow.
You guys know all about Picayune, Mississippi now. You can write a travel guide about it, right?
Been there, done that once.
That's enough.
Yes.
So you win to District H, and here you are. You're making it back to the national tournament. You get to host, and I'm sure the girls are really excited about it.
Yeah, they basically, back to our hotel room that night, were screaming and yelling and dancing on the bus. They were really excited to get the job done. And the second half was all us. They didn't even have a shot.
Oliver, your lads had to go up to North Carolina, some conditions as well, but in the end, knock off Patrick Henry 3-2. A deserved result. Now, you're supposed to play a second game. You never even had to do that, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, a big storm came in, so the field was unplayable. And as both teams were going to advance, the two teams that made the final advance to the national, we had no other option but to cancel the game and move on.
Would you have preferred to play that next
They are the
game?
number one team in the country, so in terms of seeding purposes, if we'd have played that game and knocked them off, we would have gone to national tournament as the number one seed. So we all wanted to play. The boys were a little disappointed they didn't get to play, which shows a testament to them. Always wanted to play the game and compete. So it was disappointing. Having said that, we get out there with no injuries or no cards, so we can have a good week's training before the nationals.
Well, of course, we talked all season about the Spanish connection you had, Paula Estilla-Zeran and Julia Hernandez. They account for 2 goals and an assist. It kind of goes according to script for you guys in the 4-1 win.
Absolutely. I mean, there are 2 leading goal scorers, but, a lot of other players as well chipped in. Bunny had a defensive responsibility in that game. She shut down their best player. But yeah, the Spanish connection is unbelievable this year with 25 and I think 22 goals each.
What's the mentality? Pearl River actually got a goal there to tie things up about 30 minutes in, and then it was time to kind of buckle in, wasn't it?
Yeah, we played a little sloppy to begin with. I think the nerves showed a bit for us more than I thought they would, and we kind of settled down the second half after a halftime talk. They didn't get a shot on goal.
Oliver, Micah Smoke, the game-winning, it was kind of an interesting way it ended up happening, but Micah Smoke had the free kick right outside of the box, and that was the kind of fitting that decided it for you guys, 3-2.
Sure, he's had a great year. I think that was his 7th goal of the year, and he's played a lot of centre back as well as in centre mid. He was playing centre mid on Friday, and he won a free kick just on the edge of the box, and the ref asked if he wanted to take it if we wanted 10 yards, and he said, no, I'll take it quick, and just kicked it in while the goalkeeper was on the other side. So it was very quick thinking, and it won us the game. So we were all happy and excited. Their coach, not so much.
How about Dennis Hall in this game? Kofi has been injured in and out here the last couple of games, and here he is, a second straight brace. He has 2 goals in this game and has really come to play and really risen to the occasion when he's got his opportunity.
Yeah, he's a very talented young man. With when he came in, he was a little immature and wasn't quite ready for this level of competition and level of training. But testament to him, he's really stepped up his training habits and worked hard. And now he's got this chance with Kofi being out. He's really flourished, and his goals has got us through this tough run of in the playoffs in the postseason. And we expect him to continue into the national tournament, where with his pace and power, he can be a real force.
Jeff, your Titans outshot Pearl River 23-9, but I think an impressive stat that doesn't get talked about enough. The team did not concede a shot in that second half, and that speaks to your back line and speaks to your goalkeeper.
Absolutely. You got to compliment our back 4, Helen and Haley and Arnella and Serena. They shut them down, and then Bunny did a tremendous job at holding mid as well as Jay Bales. So yeah, it was a team effort, but they kind of clamped down and realized, hey, this half has got to be ours, and we didn't allow any shots.
Where do you go now? I mean, you got to go back up to that region of the country, the Mid-Atlantic, to the backwoods of Virginia somewhere, and there's going to be some challenges inherent, but you get a little time to get things set up, and what's practice going to be like here the next couple of weeks, or next week, actually?
Yeah, I think we need to get into a bit of a rhythm offensively. We struggled a little bit, a lot of turnovers, still creating a lot of opportunities, but turn the ball too over, maybe letting them get back into the game, both the Broward and the Patrick and Henry game. So we need to get, find our form again, go into national tournaments. So it's going to be a hard week of training. The boys are going to work hard and see if we can, get our mojo back a little bit.
Same question to you. Now you guys are both, the teams have made it. Now you're here. Now you got to kind of turn the page and kind of switch things mentally a little bit, and it's a different approach now.
Absolutely. I think, we kind of tweak a couple things, just like Oliver's saying. We gave the ball up a little too much. We forced a few things in the last couple of games. We got to be a little sharper, a little smarter in decision making, and just be a lot more organized defensively, coming against some of the better teams at the national tournament.
Jeff, you also serve as the athletic director here. It's going to be an interesting week because on campus you're hosting all these teams. They're going to be here, all 12 teams. At the same time, you got to worry about being a coach. Do you take off the AD hat a little bit this week and leave that for some other folks?
Well, this will be the first year I've delegated a lot more. So Ryan Keel, the assistant athletic director, is doing a lot more, so I can focus more on my team. But I still have a lot to do as tournament director as well. But I'm used to it because it's happened the last 3 years before this year, so you just kind of, you got to do what you got to do. So
Titans have been the #1 team in the nation for the most part of the entire season, and does any pressure come with that? Because now they're going to be playing in front of the home crowd, and certainly there is going to be some pressure on these girls.
Well, I think there is pressure, but there's expectations, and with pressure, though, there's going to be great opportunities to win a national championship, and we're getting to play at home, which is really exciting. Really exciting.
Oliver, you and I talked last week before the trip, up there. That one thing that you guys look forward to is the long bus trip, and some fun things come out of that. I want to know who won the trivia contest this week.
Ibra's team. Ibra and his African buddies won it. So I think they play a little bit too much FIFA, so they know every single player around the world, and so they got most of the questions right, but they did good. So I think Ibra got the prize there.
Soccer-related trivia then, so not not
almost all soccer,
almost
all soccer. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How was the road trip? Back and forth. I'm sure the bus was was rocking on the way back.
Yeah, definitely. And we've watched this video I think every year. She's the man. I'm just.
Oh yes.
Oh
yeah,
yes.
I know that.
Yeah, I know it too well.
Yeah.
So we watched that on the way back.
Yes.
I think every year with my women's teams, we've watched that many times.
Google "She's the Man," folks at home, and you'll get the humor in that. Now you turn around, you've got to go. In a way, I guess it's a positive because you can kind of get away from everything that's going on here and get the lads focused up in Virginia and Purcellville.
Yeah, they enjoy the the experiences and the road trips, and we'll get a training session up there and the banquet before the games, and really get the full feel of playing at national tournaments. It's going to be a great opportunity, and we're going up there to win it, no doubt about it. We've got the talent, and we're only one loss on the year, and as long as we're focused and realize that this is our opportunity and our time, I think we can go up there and achieve our goals and win a national title.
We've made mention of this throughout the show here this fall. I mean, the two contrasting styles as far as score lines this year. You guys have really had to earn everything you've done. You've not necessarily made things difficult, but you've really had to come back in some games and been in playoff mode really for the last 2 months. Jeff, the challenge is keeping these girls motivated when they're winning 13-0.
Yeah, certainly it's been close. Every game's been close. So you're right. We have been in playoff mode and been in some very close games. And so when it gets down to the national tournament, especially if we get through the group stage and play in those semi-final and final games, 4 days in a week, they're going to be scrappy games. It's going to be about determination, desire, and heart. And we've showed a lot of that in the last 3 months.
Jeff, talk about what lies ahead. Now it's going to be the best of the best. They're going to be coming here to the Space Coast to play in this tournament on November 16th to start. What kind of competition's ahead for you guys?
Well, again, some of those teams, a lot of the teams have one loss that are in the national tournament. So, I mean, it's going to be very competitive. There's nothing given to you at this point. So we're really excited about the opportunity, but we got to stay focused because, there's not going to be any of these blowouts from this point on.
Does the seed matter? I mean, you're going to be the top seed by virtue of being the #1 team?
Absolutely, it's huge for us because seeding 1 through 12, so we'll get the 12th team seeded and we'll get the 8th team, so that that is a little easier in pool play. But if we get through that, then we'll be playing a very, very good team in the semifinals. But one game at a time.
4 groups of 3 in basically a pool play. Is it the same there for the men's tournament?
Yeah, and the teams are in the top 4 seeds, which we hope to be, 3 or 4 seed. And that means you play on a Monday, Wednesday, so you get the day off on a Tuesday. Everybody gets the day off Thursday, and then the semi-finals on the Friday and Saturday. So it's a lot of football in a week, and we're all excited for it.
And both of you answer this. I mean, here it is. It's win or go home now too, and that there's a certain aspect that you got to tell your players and your kids that this is it. I mean, you don't get out of your group here. Everything we shot for is over. So that there is that pressure. How do you change the mentality here in the last couple of the next couple of days?
I think for us, we've been in that mentality, in that zone for a while, but the boys need to realize it's a special occasion. How many times in a college career do you get to compete for a national tournament? Realistically, moving on, this is a special time for them. They need to make the most of it.
Yeah, we have that same type of mentality. We've had that all year. Our goal was to be undefeated. So we took one game at a time and had that mentality to take care of business.
Sure. Well, gentlemen, best of luck. We look forward to watching you from near and from afar as well. Congratulations on the season, and pass that on to the lads and to the ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Jeff Carr, Oliver 12 Trees, the best coaches in the country, bar none, as they've led both of their respective squads to the national tournament. Now, that's all the time we have on this special edition. We'd like to thank Coach Carr, Coach 12 Trees, and of course Anthony Pulis of OCB for joining us here on Inside Titan Sports. A little programming note: next 2 weeks, no show because we've got the National Women's Soccer Tournament to worry about, and then we've got Thanksgiving break. So we'll see you back here first week of December. For all my guests, I'd like to thank you for watching as well. I'm Jeff Radcliffe saying so long and go Titans.